Hello everybody, it's me, Cloaker, and today's video is gonna be a bit more serious. Not one of those like slow and short videos that I do, like, me saying, oh, I'm sorry for the lack of uploads, which I am right now because I've been really busy with school and whatnot. This one's an actual serious one. This one's a bit drama related. So, about 4 months ago, Alta made a video exposing a person named artsy.luci, who I had previously had, well, run into trouble with, so to say. If you didn't get to watch the video, I'll link it down in the description because there's a lot of really good points exposing Lucy there. But as for my side of the story, me and Alta hosted a podcast on his channel via a live stream, and I went and explained everything, about my side of the story at least. But the stream was never uploaded, so nobody got the chance to see it. Alta still has the link for the podcast, but doesn't want to upload it for his own personal reasons. And my side of the story was forever lost to the deep depths of the internet. Until today, that is. In this video, I'll be going over my side of the story on what happened with artsy.luci, or whatever you want to call them. So, to gather some context, we're going to start at the very beginning of the story. It was November or December of 2017, and I was in Doomsday's server, mainly as one of their artists. I'd be there, chat up with all the people in the art channel, post my own art, give criticism, that sort of thing, you know? But there was this one person that stood out the most in all of the people. Their name was Avery. Now, around December, I was DM'd by Avery. Not for any commissioned reasons or just to talk. It was because they had a crush on me, they said. Now, being the desperate, gullible 14, 13-year-old I was, I accepted, not knowing what I was getting myself into. My dating experience with Avery was a bit off, to say the least. What they had told me was they are in Italy. They were across the world from me. This, as you can imagine, causes problems in the relationship. Lack of communication occurs. For example, I would be up and alive and going through my day, but Lucy would be already asleep and in bed. But I soon came to realize, later on, that this was not the case at all, and that everything I knew about Avery was false and I was being lied to and manipulated. As every person on the internet knows, catfishes are a thing, and Avery happened to be one of them, and I didn't know until it was too late. So what happened was, I would be ignored during the day when they were clearly online and talking to other people. And throughout my whole time dating Avery, I was 100% sure that they were a girl, but the naive version of me just wanted to believe that. I wasn't given any proof of them being a girl. No pictures, no voice, nothing. Just text on a screen and nothing else. But one conflict changed everything for the worse, and what started my downfall with my relationship with Avery. I didn't know, but behind the scenes, Doomsday and his crew and several of his friends were exposing Avery for being a person known as Golden Man, which I'm going to summarize shortly. He's basically a bastard and a horrible person, and you should never strive to be him. What I knew about Golden Man was that he was Avery's ex, and he was very harmful, and all these horrible things were happening to Avery because of Golden Man. How he would stalk her and whatnot. This obviously, later on, became obvious that it was not true. I was sent a screenshot that Golden Man and Avery were the exact same. So what Avery did was go onto a new account named Bubbles, or Chiharu. I obviously, as her quote-unquote boyfriend, was able to add her on those accounts and talk to her. But those accounts were like her private accounts. Nobody else was allowed to know. She even told me that I shouldn't speak of her in this account and I should keep it a secret. She told me that a bunch of mean people were coming and harassing her, and she did nothing. And being, well, as naive as I was, I believed her, and I didn't say a word. And that was that. Nothing happened for a while, or at least I didn't notice. But behind the scenes, things were still going on, and I had no clue of it. People like Doomsday were looking at my profile, looking at Avery's profile. They basically had every bit of information they could on me. A portfolio docs, as you would call it. They didn't know anything about me personally, but they knew about my online persona, just so they could try and find where Avery was. People would join my Discord only to leave minutes later after not finding Avery. That's all they wanted to do, was to find where he went and hid. But the greatest conflict of them all was my doing. I had enough. I was done of the lack of communication and the way that I was treated. I was barely talked to, and people would even talk to her, but she would ignore me. So the dumb little version of me decided to cheat on her. This was the most stupidest decision that I ever made in my life, but I did it. I didn't want to make her upset because, well, before she had established that she was suicidal, but this would later come to be false, and you should watch Alta's video on it. He covers it better than I can. But it had turned out that the person I was cheating with was also friends with Avery, and immediately went and told Avery, and I was caught. People hated on me for a while, I was made fun of. I honestly deserved it, but in my eyes, it was also Lucy's doing. I wouldn't have done that if she had just talked to me, but she chose to ignore me and never talk with me, and in my eyes, that forced me to go to another person. Now, what Avery did was go and basically tell all of her friends to come and harass me, including Alta, but none of them did that, really. They just shit-talked me in their own Discord and nothing else. The only shit-talking that I was given was from one person, and that was it. My reputation was ruined in an instant, putting Avery into the spotlight as a good person. Everybody believed her, and it was obviously true. There was no proof that I had to show that I was not wrong. I went into a depressive fit, and I was just broken. There was nothing that I could do. Everyone seemed to hate me at this point. I left several Discord servers and just didn't really talk to anybody anymore. And that was it for a while. I didn't hear from anybody, people still hated me, and that was basically the end for a while. So, a couple months had passed, and me and Lucy had become friends again. Granted, I did know everything that was going on by then. I knew that Golden Man was Avery and all of this stuff. I saw Alta's video on her. I knew basically the whole situation now. I understood everything. I was still at fault for what I did, but most of what happened was just manipulation by her and her twisting everything that I do to make herself look better, or to just get sympathy from other people. Despite all that, we both apologized, and everything was good. We were friends now. But another conflict has risen. Mike, one of her friends, still hated me, still hated my guts for what I did. He couldn't forgive me no matter what I did. Even if I made a sincere apology to everybody, he probably still wouldn't even be happy about it. Granted, now me and him are chill and we're cool with each other now. Nothing's going on, but back then, things were different. As I mentioned, Mike really didn't like me. He thought that I was a bad influence on Lucy and wanted her to stay away as far away as possible from me, as humanly possible. But seeing as we are both friends now, we didn't want that to happen, so She created her own private Discord with me and her only, and we just posted art and chatted all we could. But even then, that didn't last long because more conflict happened. What do you know? See, now me and Lucy would vent and self deprecate in her Discord server, and that's what we just did most of the time. But one time it went a little bit too far and caused us both to not like each other anymore. And I left the Discord, and the Discord was deleted shortly after. And after that, me and her never really spoke again, for a while at least. And now we arrive at the present day. This is where the bulk of my video is going to come from, besides the whole origin story thing. By this time, me and Lucy really didn't like each other. Sure, I wasn't really on good terms, but I wasn't the hateful type. Lucy, on the other hand, would constantly trash talk me and try to start things with me. Try to start drama in servers that wouldn't allow drama in the first place, trying to get me into as much trouble as she possibly could. And at the same time, she had me blocked on Twitter, so I couldn't see 90% of the shit talking she would do on there. To counter that, I created a Twitter account, one under the name of Blazy Avy, which used to be one of her names. I used this to watch what she was doing and occasionally poke fun at her and criticize everything she did. Eventually, I got blocked on there for criticizing her too much, but I got all the proof and screenshots that I needed to prove that she was being, well, an asshole. She would do those little questionnaire things where if she got a like on Twitter, she would answer a question. And for several of her questions, there would be something like, "Who do you hate?" And I would be on that list, obviously. I'm going to be putting several screenshots on the screen, and I'm going to explain every single one of them and why they came to be. Okay, first, before I do that, I'm going to give a little side note. Lucy, on her Twitter, really likes to act depressed, but if you watched Alta's video and you just know what's going on, you know that that's not true, and she admitted to not having these problems at all. But that's what she goes and does. Whenever someone goes and exposes her or criticizes her, she goes and whines on Twitter to her followers to get sympathy from them. Even going to the point that she would ping the person that would criticize her, and then parody what they were doing to, like, make fun of themselves in order to, like, seem hip and cool or whatever, to jump onto the bandwagon just to gain more attention. But with me, it's a special case. Whenever I would do something that Lucy didn't like, she would immediately hop onto Twitter and complain about me, saying how I'm a horrible person for doing this or for doing that, when everything I did was basically nothing. For example, I was being a meme lord, so to say. I went onto Lucy's DeviantArt because I just stumbled upon it. I didn't realize that she had one. And I just typed the word nug and submitted it on her profile. What did she do? Immediately went off to Twitter and complained about me, essentially. The tweet reads as follows. When Cloaker blocks you and tells you to stop talking to him, but he targets you for stealing art and looks at your DeviantArt. Now, the blocking part is semi-true, but that was when our whole conflict happened and we had an argument with each other and a bunch of insults were thrown out, and I admit I was stupid. I insulted them a bit too far because I was angry with what they were doing and how they were acting towards me. But after that, I unblocked them, and they were unblocked for, like, the longest time. We just never spoke at all. And the part where I said that she was stealing art was also my bad, and I even apologized about it. But I guess that wasn't enough for her, or at least justified. And as I said before with the whole DeviantArt thing, it's not that I went and was trying to track her DeviantArt down. It was just, I stumbled upon it on one of her profiles or what have you, and I found it, and I was like, okay, let's post a funny comment, and I did, and it gave me this response. So this just goes to show that she overreacts about literally everything. Now, I'm going to go and explain more about the argument that happened Well, when me and Lucy were at each other's throats, essentially, and we were both arguing with each other, I used a bunch of slurs, right? I called her a trap because that's essentially what she was, and she even admitted herself a long while ago that she was. I told her to kill herself, that obviously it wasn't the correct thing to do, but I knew it wouldn't really affect her because she's not actually depressed, and it wouldn't really do much to her. All it would really do is just give her another piece of an argument to use against me, which she constantly uses against me, along with me calling her a trap and me cheating on her. That's really the only piece of proof that she has against me. And even then, bringing all that up is basically nothing compared to what we have on her. We have screenshots upon screenshots of her messing up, trying to apologize, but not actually being sincere about it, and then going to a different account just to do it all over again. And to make matters worse, she keeps ruining her reputation more and more each day. Like, for example, months after Alta made that video, and after she apologized, mind you, she went and started harassing Alta, sending very offensive things and putting that whole parody thing that I mentioned earlier on her Twitter. But the worst by far was making a racist meme with Alta's face. You got that right. He literally posted Alta's face onto YouTube without his permission into a very racist and offensive meme. Now, Alta obviously got this taken down because of privacy invasion, but that's a pretty scummy thing to do. And after all this stuff happened, somebody stepped up by the name of Sin. Now, Sin is a very well-known trader and a very respected person within the community. He responded to Lucy about the invalid argument she was using against Alta when he released the video. And what he did was basically rip into Lucy's character, basically exposing her for not telling the truth. She said that she had changed, or that she was trying to change, yet she wasn't changing at all. She was doing the exact same thing that she was doing before, and that's what Sin pointed out. She always kept making these promises that she would change, but nothing in her behavior would change. She would still be the toxic person that she is, manipulating other people and whining on Twitter. And while all of this was happening, Lucy was dating another person. One of my friends, my close friends I might add, named Far Legends. At the time, he had been as stupid and naive as I was. Another person named Tiki was wanting to date him, but he made the mistake of choosing Lucy over her. I told him time and time again that it was a bad idea and he should never do it, but he did it anyways, and a bunch of bad things happened. He was dragged into things he didn't want to be dragged into. And what Lucy used Far Legends for was as a meat shield, to basically say, Far, please defend me, whenever she was criticized. Far Legends was actually smart, though, and didn't defend her, because he knew that what she was doing is wrong, and that she was in the wrong. And basically, Far Legends was my communication between Lucy, because she had me blocked at this time, or at least didn't want to talk to me. And, like, I would poke fun at Lucy sometimes. Like, on one of my videos, there's a part in the video where a section is blocked off, blacked out. That was Lucy. She didn't want to be in my video. She wanted nothing to do with me. So, she told Far Legends to take him out of the video. Or, well, her. Along with that, she judged Far Legends for being my friend, saying that I am an asshole and he shouldn't be friends with me. Now, one thing I didn't mention before a while back during the origin story part is that how Lucy handles relationships. She doesn't really treat you like a human being, more like something for a sexual desire. This is what he would do with Far Legends, whether it be on Discord or Twitter. The tweets have since been deleted, but there was things like pinging him on Twitter saying, "Can I call you daddy?" or just generally being perverted. And I told Far Legends time and time again that he needs to end it. He needs to just stop and give up with her, because signs of what she was doing to me was happening to him. He was slowly getting more and more ignored. But he was as afraid as I was. He didn't want to leave her because of what she might do, not knowing that any of it was fake. And one day, I convinced him. I convinced him to leave. And it really worked out for Far. But wouldn't you know that immediately after, Lucy went on Twitter saying that she was going to take a break for a while. In conclusion, Lucy has not changed from her humble beginnings from being Golden Man all the way to artsy.luci. Nothing's changed. She still acts like the horrible human being that she is. And if you are to come across her, don't trust her. Don't be manipulated by her. Now for my ending here, I'd like to give special thanks to people like Alta and Sin who have given me the proof that I need to go against artsy.luci. Thank you to Alta as well for just putting the gameplay in the background so I didn't have to record it myself. But yeah, that's the end of this. I hope this was informative, and I hope it spreads awareness throughout the TF2 community that Lucy, despite having a video made on her and people exposing her, she still hasn't let up and changed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.